Okay. Okay, I just got the alert, recording in progress. So welcome everybody. I will try to keep this both as quick as possible, but also as informative as possible. So don't shy away from questions. I've got Richard and Patrick standing by to monitor the chat function of Zoom. So if you have an immediate question, you can pose it there. And then just let us know if it's a question you would prefer to verbalize too. That's totally okay. Some questions can just be dealt with in chat, and some, as always, you might find are answered later. That's kind of why I want Richard and Patrick on top of it, because they know what's being presented. But we want to answer all the questions, and we want to make sure that as much is covered as possible, because we're going to we're going to hand this out to everyone who's not here. So assuming your questions are ones that they may ask as well. So first of all, I want to welcome everybody to the first ever Berserker Day NewbiePalooza. As many of you have seen or have heard, seen on email or heard from direct conversation, the concept is to create something that is less hectic for the newbies who are always part of Berserker Day. And particularly given how insane last Berserker Day was, we felt there was a need to kind of focus a little more on the newbies more than what we have in the past, where we have highlighted them and introduced them to the community ahead of time to try to give them a little heads up, with the community, since once the sale starts, the money starts flowing so fast, a lot of the newbies are just overlooked because of unfamiliarity to the community. So this way we're getting it in place in time before Berserker Day, and then some or all of you may end up participating also in Berserker Day. But by then you'll actually have one under your belt, which, as David will speak to maybe in a little bit, it's after the first one's over, it's a little bit easier. Okay, it's never super easy. I mean, I know that there's even some who've done it, 10, 12 years. It can be hectic if you have the right offer. You're going to make yourself miserable with orders, which is a good thing. Again, welcome all of you. And I wanted to introduce my Berserker Day Council, which is also new this year. The Sean O'Connell, Patrick Taylor, Richard Frankel basically took it upon themselves to say, let's figure out a way to do this again, the Berserker Day, do this again, do it better, find the holes. This is something that, with almost 2 million in sales for Berserker Day, it's a lot for one person to handle. And so I was so appreciative that they stepped in, and they ended up doing a lot of research, a lot of interviews, and data collecting from sellers and buyers. So we know so much more about Berserker Day than what we ever have before. And that's sort of, it's on purpose to try to control the madness a little bit more. So I'm very thankful to them. And if you hear from them anytime from now through NewbiePalooza, they're, mad respect to them. They're the kings and queen, Shun. So, okay. So we're going to get started with a presentation. Now, I will send this to each of you in a PDF form also. And I'm very, I don't like to read slides, and I've already told the council this. Like, you guys can all read, I presume. So I'm not going to be reading to you. You'll get the slides. We're going to talk in sort of larger format here on each of the slides, and Shun will present a little bit as well with regards to the data that they spent so much time collecting. So I'm going to start with sharing my screen, and give me a second here. Whoops, wrong button. Okay, here we go. Shun, we can see this, right?
Yes.
Great. Okay. So again, welcome. This is all designed for this is the most amount of information you're going to get, and this is more than anyone ever got for Berserker Day. So let's take advantage of it. So as I've already introduced earlier, the sales of Berserker Day have grown exponentially year after year after year. And last year was kind of a unique one. I don't know that we will meet it. There's certain pieces of the puzzle that may not repeat themselves, like COVID. Having people stuck at home certainly drove online sales a bit more. And the fact that people were home generated more communication within the community. So there was a stronger bond, I think, building up to it and during it as well. So we'll see if we can replicate it. Certainly the things that we're doing now with this event and with the council will probably help. You can see in here that the recommendations are to look at those two main forums. Wine Talk is the generic one. This is particularly for the winemakers. We do have some food producers and sellers here as well, but also Berserker Day forum. I highly encourage you to do that. Look at the offers, look at the responses, see what others have done, and you can look and we'll see the forum in just a little bit. You can see how many had a large number of views or a large number of posts in them. Those are obviously the popular ones. Look and see why. That's really important to get an idea of what to do, where to place your photos, what kind of information to have about yourself, those kinds of things that create an interaction with the community. They've proven to be very valuable. As you see on the bottom, how to sign up and navigate the site. Most of you have already signed up, and I've added you to the necessary groups. We'll go over that when we do the demo. But if you have not yet signed up, please do so. Just go through, do the real names policy, all that stuff. You definitely need it because you guys are going to be selling. So make sure you use your real name. Now, this, as mentioned, is the research that the council did. It was great for me because it's the whole thing is A to Z to me, but they were looking at it. These are experienced buyers, so they're coming at it from. They've participated as buyers in so many different Berserker Days, so they came into it. Even though I do buy from Berserker Day, they came into it with like a fresher look, and so they knew what to ask of the buyers. And these are good little data points for you to look at to make sure that what you have and what you're wanting to offer is within the successful parameters. Now, within this, the survey here is something I want Shun to present because they're the ones who did all the hard work. So you just let me know when you want me to advance, unless you can do it.
I'll ask you to do it when I get there, but
okay.
Hi everybody, and it's great to have you joining in. It's fun to have a NewbiePalooza. As Todd mentioned, we put together some surveys and both surveyed the Berserkers to find out what they did on Berserker Day, how much they bought, what they liked, what made them buy, and we also talked to sellers like David. And there are a few things that we found sort of really drove sales during that time. We got a total of 872 responses to the survey, which is kind of big. The things that were kind of interesting in the results were sort of both what really was important. Overall, not just looking at newbie sales, price was like the item that kind of determined purchasing. But second to price was that desire to try something new. You can assume that the berserkers buy a lot of wine, they drink a lot of wine, they live a lot of wine, and looking to Berserker Day for something that they're not finding, in their local wine shop or through their regular sources is an important part of this. So there's a real interest in getting to know new winemakers and try something interesting. And so that's really involved. The third thing that gets mentioned consistently is looking for discounted or free shipping. And I think we all know that for all of you, shipping is a cost center and an issue, but a low cost shipping offer makes a big difference in terms of the enthusiasm for your offer. So it's one of the things that I would consider smart to factor into your offer when you design it. Todd, next. Of our 700 respondents who actually made purchases on Berserker Day, 57% actually purchased from a new seller. So there's a great appetite for new winemakers and new sellers in general during these events. It's not just, while there's a lot of loyalty to winemakers who we've bought from over the years, and a lot of us look forward to Berserker Day as a chance to stock up again from them. But there's also a really strong appetite to buy from somebody who we don't know yet and get to know them. Next. For choosing, in terms of choosing the newbies to buy from, because folks buy from more than one seller typically, there are a couple things involved. One is, again, that desire to find something new. But what you might not expect is that the second most important factor was the description or the producer backstory. So you'll see in the forum where we place your offer that you have the ability to sort of put together a story, not just both an offer of a product, this is what you're going to sell, these bottles, tell us a bit about the wine, etc. But also an overview of your business or how you got involved in making wine, pictures, etc. So making that a personal kind of story as well as an effective offer is important. I think one of the key things in selling effectively for Berserker Day and for NewbiePalooza is understanding that Wine Berserkers is a very active community. It's very personal. It's not Amazon, so people are not looking for, and in fact have made it very clear they do not want to see kind of Amazon style standardized offers, but instead there's a real enjoyment in the story that goes along with the wine. So you'll want to tell us who you are and tell us your story. And as you see, that's the second most important factor in having success with your offer. And then price, of course, is involved. So, and that's that one. One of the things when we also, because we not only did a survey of the buyers, but we also did many interviews with various sellers from Berserker Day this year. And so Richard, Patrick, and I all had lists of sellers to have chats with, and sellers like David were really generous with their time in terms of spending time chatting with us and telling us how they experienced Berserker Day. Every single one talks about how surprised they were at the level of engagement from Berserkers. This is not just a people pop on, buy a bottle and vanish, but they want to chat with you. They want to ask you a question. They want to find out more about what your plans are or what you think about that vintage, or sort of your attitude in general. So it's a chance to really engage with customers. Kind of think of it as like a tasting room. If you're doing a really good job where you're chatting them up and stuff, there's a lot of that kind of back and forth, a lot of engagement. And, so you'll want to allow time that day to do precisely that. Now, this won't be as insane as Berserker Day, which is insane, but it will be busy. And you'll want to make sure that you have kind of cleared the decks so that you can be online a good part of the day or often on a lot, so that you can respond to questions, get engaged with those conversations, and share information. It's not something where you're just going to sort of take orders and that's that, but instead you're going to meet some new customers.
And Sean, can I add something to that, please? When one of the sellers that I interviewed, they had scheduled a call, like an hour and a half call right when the forum opened on Berserker Day for like their day job. And they realized that was a big mistake because there was a problem with the website. And so they had like 12 emails or 12 comments on the forum asking what was up. So especially right when the forum drops. And again, it shouldn't be that busy. We hope it's not going to be super crazy for NewbiePalooza, but especially that first, couple of hours when the forum drops, if you can be available.
Yeah. The other thing is, one of the things that happens a lot is if you happen to know each other. So if you know one of the other winemakers who's participating in NewbiePalooza, it's nice to drop a note in their section of the forum as well and say hello. That's really well received. There's a lot of back and forth and kind of solidarity amongst sellers. And if you have customers who are wine berserkers and them, invite them to leave a comment or let them know that you'll be selling. And so it would be nice for them to tell folks what they think. And of course, we're going to be involved with the tasting samples, and I'll turn it back to Todd to talk about that.
Okay. Since we're talking about sellers, David, I'm going to ask to unmute you because we have David Pat was a newbie last year on Berserker Day, and he was selected by our council to be here today. Just if you have any extra notes or tips you want to give before we proceed, I wanted to have you here both for questions, but also if you have any comments right now.
Hey, yeah, thanks for having me on. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, sir.
All right. And I apologize in advance if the dogs in the background start barking. My wife's not here today, but yeah, it was just great fun. I think you guys covered a lot of the key points. I'm one of the ones who had not fully realized how engaged I needed to be that day, and just saw the emails just kind of piling up and all the responses, and it was great. And so I quickly realized that day of the sale that I just needed to stay online pretty much the whole day. So especially at the beginning, as you mentioned, I can't re-emphasize the points you made about telling a good story. Some of the comments I got back, I hadn't maybe put enough technical specs. Maybe it needed to be further down in the email, or just as you present your wines, these are the kind of buyers that would want to make sure they know, like for a Pinot Noir, what the % alcohol is and the pH, and what are the clones, how is it fermented, how much new oak. Those are the kinds of buyers we're dealing with here that are very knowledgeable, that are collectors. And on the collectors side, just this is the kind of audience that would want to know how your wines are going to age. I had some third-party reviews, which I felt really helped. And then some tips I'd received from other sellers who had been active in the space for more than a decade. Try to make some intro offers that people can grab onto. Like my first offer was 15% and free shipping for 3 wines of their choice, kind of an intro package. And then, obviously at that price point with free shipping, barely breaking even. So it's more about client acquisition for me at that point, and just getting to know folks and engaging with them. And I would say of those, about maybe half followed up with orders, after the event. And so, I think that worked out great. And then I just kind of scaled percentage discounts from there. I think it was 20% for 6 bottles, 30% for a case, and 40% for anyone who might want to order 2 or more cases. And I had, I think, 3 or 4 that did that. So it was kind of nice to see. But just enjoy it. I recommend joining the Berserker Business Council so that you don't have the ads on your screen that pop up.
That's different.
That's always nice.
I could touch on that. I'll touch on that too. I didn't even think about that. I'll touch on that.
Yeah. That definitely helps. And yeah, it was a great response last year. I flat out ran out of shipping supplies and mailers, so I had to, after all the orders were done, I had to scramble. So, but it was great. So I really appreciated the support and all the communication with everybody. It was great.
And David, I noticed you mentioned that you've had some repeat customers that are on your mailing list now. I mean, I'm drinking an Oregon Pinot right now that I bought first on Berserker Day, and now I bought their spring order. So we didn't put that on the buyer's survey here on this presentation, but we did get some data on that where people will rebuy throughout the year.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I have some clients that who have become regulars now on my email list. So that definitely, that definitely carries forward. Other than that, it's I think this is how many sellers are on this board. Part of it in the big Berserker days, there's so many sellers that it's
we
just
have
helpful
over
for your.
we have over 100 on Berserker Day. We have 15 on NewbiePalooza so far.
Yeah. Okay. So it'll be a lot easier.
Very
for
controllable.
us to be visible.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yeah. So.
All right. Thanks, David. I got some.
I'll just mention one thing before passing off completely, that one of the things that David has done so effectively is to stay involved with Berserkers. So that both being a seller for Berserker Day and doing quite well and maintaining a relationship with those customers. But he's also participating in discussions on Wine Talk and kind of just keeping that conversation going. And the sellers who continue to have a great deal of success with our community are ones who do have that level of engagement. So don't feel that you have to be quiet, but jump into the conversations too.
Okay. Thank you, everybody. And David's going to stick around for some questions, hopefully, if you guys have seller specific ones. This is something that was already touched upon, shipping. Now, a lot of even when this presentation was written, shipping charges have changed. I mean, it's horrible right now, and it's a burden that all of small business owners have to bear right now. But it is important in this particular scenario to try to find a way to make it work as a whole financial package to get these buyers, and not because it's just a transactional thing, as there's already been addressed by Shun and David. It is you're looking for repeat customers, and you're also looking for exposure. I mean, if all of these sellers they're trying to make a name for themselves, whether it's food or wine, and people search the web, Wine Berserkers has so much content that the Google results are really high. So if people end up praising your product, the discussions on Wine Berserkers end up high in the search results. So that's something that you benefit from it as well. So you get repeat customers, hopefully. And moreover, you get them for life. That's where the communication and the rather than a transactional nature, it's a relationship. You get these customers for life, and they engage with you, not just for buying product from you, but also, offline or even on the forum, as the case may be. So just think about it as this. You're not just getting, invoices and you're fulfilling orders. This is it's kind of a different concept. Remembering also that there's no cost for this. And that's on purpose, because the goal of Berserker Day has always just been to connect these small producers that you either can't find in a store or it's difficult to find in the store, and put them together, because this group, the tens of thousands of people that we have on it, they love this engagement. They think it's so. These are passions of theirs. Food and wine and travel are the big passions of this community, and they love engaging with the winemaker or the cheesemaker or the butcher. In the case of Flannery, they absolutely geek all over the fact that they're like, they're talking to their friends and they're sipping a wine, like, oh yeah, I had a chat with the winemaker the other day, that kind of stuff. And the producers like it as well. You know, you often make a product and you ship it off to a distributor. You don't talk to any of those end customers. So the person-to-person aspect of this is very valuable as a small business owner, I know. So now this is specific for wineries, what to sell. And David touched on this a bit as well. I will try to address also the relation to food processors as well. Now, the best one is the second one, small array, three bottles-ish, 4 bottles, something like a small offering, shows off your winemaking style, or it could just be like, maybe you do a great job making Chardonnay and you just do 3 or 4 bottles of your Chardonnay, same vineyard or whatever it is. The goal that most people do with this, and we touched on it briefly in Shun's presentation, is they want small amounts just to get an idea of what they're getting into. You don't, you know, some take the big chance like David had, which is amazing, where they get multiple cases with never having, you know, tried the wines. That's awesome. Most people, roughly 60%, are the ones who are buying from a number of new producers to them, and they want to try them out, and then they increase the orders for the next time, or they get on the mailing list and do it. So think about it from that perspective. It's the samples that you're sending out for the Berserkers to taste, and they're going to write notes on, is what you're going to be selling, and they serve the same purpose. You're literally sending samples, but on NewbiePalooza, you're going to be selling them. You know, get people to see what is it that you produce. And so don't necessarily go for something massive. You can, and you can get lucky. And I like David's idea where you have tiered, you know, 3, 6, and 12 and multiple cases. But in general, this is people looking at it to sample new products and give them a try, and then see if it's something that they like, they end up buying from it again and again. The other one is library wines. It's very rare to get these offers. So if you have, you know, I guess it would be called a horizontal, you know, multiple vintages, you know, you've got 15, 16, 17, 18 or something, those go really well because those show the customer what your winemaking style is, but also how they age. So if you're fortunate enough to have, you know, small horizontals like that, those go really well. Last one I want to point out is or two, the most popular varietals. You don't have to worry about it this year because NewbiePalooza is small enough, but we've had multiple Berserker days where, let's say, Pinot was more than 50% of the offers. So people were getting insane numbers of orders, and some people were getting no orders or very few because it's a competitive piece of the market. So then when the buyers come in and they're like, okay, well, I need to re-up on Pinot and I'm going to buy 3 cases of it. They look and they say, oh, you know, there's newbies here or whatever, but I can trust these guys, or someone else had a better listing or a better story or better photos, you know, so it becomes really competitive. If you guys end up making it to Berserker Day, look at that and make sure, because in the preview form, which we'll see later, you will see what other people are offering. You might want to change your offers to make sure that you're not in the overpopulous, whatever that particular varietal of the year happens to be. And it's never the same. We had Syrah for a few years, and it's been Pinot. Last year was actually Cabernet Sauvignon, which we've not had much of in the past. And then it was sort of a little glut of it last year. So you never know what it's going to be, but just know that if you happen to be part of the popular crowd at the time, it's going to be more competitive for you. Now, the limited availability thing. Now, we already have one seller who we had to cajole a little bit to participate because they are in the fortunate situation of not having a lot of product right now. Patrick stepped in and said, here's an idea, you know, that why don't you just have, you know, 2 cases or 3 cases, whatever it was. And so it makes a limited offer. Those go like crazy. So this is going to be much, much, much lower key than Berserker Day on purpose, because you guys are learning about it, and it gives the community, the buying community, some time to read up on you guys and do all this. So that's why we're separating it, because Otherwise, it just everyone gets lost in the shuffle. Limited availability puts a little bit of heat on it, you know. Then suddenly we have sort of the sweepstakes kind of feel going on. So you get little hints of what Berserker Day is like. So if you have something like that, we need to discuss it ahead of time. So come to me, because I have to plan it ahead of time. So everything, when we launch this, it's going to be probably, I'm just throwing it out, 8 o'clock on the day of, 8 o'clock Pacific. But the limited stuff is going to be, we're going to announce in this window, let's say sometime between 9 and 11 or whatever it is, we're going to have a limited offer, which is going to try to, the goal is to keep people on there and keep them excited. And once it pops, and it goes fast. So like this particular one that we know is going to happen, it'll be gone in 10 minutes without a doubt. It'll be gone. Last Berserker Day, Goodfellow, who went from newbie, 3 years ago maybe, is now one of the darlings of Berserker Day, and they sell an unbelievable amount of wine. And they had a limited offer of Magnums last year, or this year. Well, it was last Berserker Day, January, and it was gone in I think 3 or 4 minutes. So these limited ones are great because it drives more attention to you, but it has to be a legitimately, you know, you can't just say I'm only going to offer X and when actually you have more. So it only works in very small, you know, quantities and very specific things. So come to me with it, and we'll see if we can work it in.
Yeah, Todd, I think the person with the limited, I think they are doing like 3 bottles and they only have 12 of them. So
yeah, so
like
3 cases.
Yeah, because they only have, I think, like 5 or 6 cases left of this vintage.
Right. And that's, so don't create a limited offer. If you have a limited offer, if you have just a small amount of stuff, it's fun to do, but no stress in doing it, because that's not really what this is intended for. Just let me know that if you have that, because it adds a little bit more fun. So right into the samples, as I talked about before. Richard has gone through and perfectly assigned the volunteers, and boy, it's really hard to get volunteers to get free samples, right? We've matched them up based on their preferences. When they submitted their request to be included, they gave us preferences of what they eat and drink and what varietals they like and what they don't like and all this other stuff. So the list is very good. I'm particularly pleased about the food selections, actually, and who's been assigned. Those are going to be great reviewers for those who are offering food products. Tomorrow I will send out the assignments to each of you. Remember, you have 2 people that you are sending them to, and in one case, I can't remember who it is because I only have this in front of my screen. I'm going to have you send them a little early if possible, because the person who was selected to be the taster is going to an event with other berserkers, and so it's going to become a group tasting, which is really a cool thing for whoever that particular person is. So I will email each of you individually with the name and addresses of your samplers, and make sure that you ship them on or by the 3rd. And the reason is we want to give them enough time to be shipped, because oh my God, shipping is such a mess right now. Of course, you know, it can be delayed a freaking week, but also just to give them a chance to do it on their own time when they're available. And that gives, you know, that's 2 weeks from the deadline to when it has to be posted. So hopefully we can get everything taken care of by then. And each of these reviewers has agreed to post in your thread. So this is important to have this, and unique for NewbiePalooza, not on Berserker Day. We don't have it. Sometimes we do, but it's not actually a part of it. So the disadvantage of being new is that nobody knows your stuff, right? So this solves that problem. We've selected from the volunteers the popular kids, basically, the ones who participate a lot or have gained a lot of respect in the community. So when they make a statement, it's going to carry some weight. So that's all of benefit to you guys. So these samples, whatever they end up costing you, trust me, it's well worth it. Okay. Let's say you're selling 3, 2019 Chardonnays all the same wine. You don't have to send them 3. You can send them 1, you know. Don't send, like, if you're planning to offer a case of wine as your sale, you don't have to send a case. You just have to send, you know, 1 of each of the things that you're going to sell. That's all. Okay. I didn't think of that before. I'm glad I thought of it now, because I don't want people getting free, you know, getting spoiled with cases of wine and stuff. Okay, now we're going to go to the demo. And most of you, as I said, have already registered based on the email. If you have not, please do so. I have to get that going well ahead of time, and I will show you why I need to do that. So I'm going to exit here, and we're going to go here. Okay, so here's the forum, and when you go to the homepage here, you know, click the logo, gets you to the homepage. So this shows a list of all the forums.
How many people are online right now?
We have 1,323 online right now. So, and you can see the list of all the people that are on right here. So, and all the guests, how many guests do we have? 1,036 guests. So know that that's a piece of the buying public too, is guests right here. You see this? They can purchase this one. When we launched NewbiePalooza, it's public, which means you don't have to register to see the forum. And some of our forums are public, some are not. So it's not just registered users who buy, it's lurkers. That's the other word that we use for visitors, are lurkers. And there's people that are on there all the time, never register, but they're on there all the time. So now you see this is Wine Talk, the main one. You can see how many topics we have. We're almost at 100,000 topics and 1.5 million posts. That's all Wine Talk, obviously, that's what it's about. That's kind of the main thing. Do look at this, Berserker Day 12, right here. You can see what others have done. Now, here's an example. You see replies here and views. Look at these numbers and see who's getting some action. You know, here's the one I mentioned before, Goodfellow, okay? Yeah, 15,727 views and 243. This is 243 posts just about his offer, okay? So, and it's 5 pages. So there's a lot of activity on his offer. He's not new, but he knows what he's doing. And their sort of their way to go about it is similar to what David said. You a little bit of story and then a lot of specifics. Look at this. People don't have to read this stuff, but there are people who love it. So you can put the specifics in there. Whether people read it or not, it doesn't matter, but there will be people who love it. So it's beneficial to you if you make cheese, if you make preserves, if you make charcuterie, if you make wine, any of the details, you know, to those who are offering food. These are some mega foodies right here. You have no idea. I mean, we have entire forum just dedicated, 2 forums actually dedicated to food. So these people know their stuff. Geek out, get into detail. And obviously it's a wine forum, so the more detail you give about the wine, the better off it is for those who want to know that. Okay, so you'll see in here too, see this little NEW, little newbie here. That was how we identified newbies last Berserker Day. They had a special topic icon. So here is one of our newbies from last year. What a great example, right? And by the way, loved his wines. He was my big newbie discovery. I love Suzer's wines. But I mean, look at that. You got a picture with a baby in there. Come on. People are going to connect to that. The dogs and babies thing, you know, marketing 101. And look at this. Here's good news. His offer sold out. So these are the kinds of things that you want to look at and see what worked and what didn't. Okay. If we move on way down here, sorry, I'm scrolling fast. Page 2, you have the ones that didn't do so well. Yeah, this one's weird because Windy Oaks is an amazing wine and I buy for them almost every year. But if you don't have a good listing or people aren't posting in there, you don't get the attention. But look, you know, you got 844 views versus what was it, 15,000 he had 15,000. So it's in the quality of your post and the quality of your offer. We got the traffic there. You just have to figure out how to get that traffic to be on your thread. Okay. Now, so this is the Berserker Day forum from last year. Take a look at it, learn from it. Okay. Here's the one that those who have registered that I have seen. I've added you to the group and you can see this forum. Now you click into here. This is where the offers will be posted once we're live. Okay. And it is not public now. The only people who can see it are you guys, and that's on purpose. So this gives us like a private playground here. We can, and specifically we go into this one. So you go into the NewbiePalooza forum, that's where the offers will be posted. Then in here, the preview and planning forum, that's where we're all going to be posting our threads well ahead of time, our offers. So as soon as you have access, if you feel like you want to do it, go for it. You press here, new topic, and here is how you do your, you put title here. Here's my offer and a photo of my baby, of my dog. Okay, and my, all this stuff, and you just whatever, put it in there. Now, what people love are photos. How do you put photos in there? Two ways. The best way is if it's hosted on your website. It's a remote hosted web, because then you also have that sort of cross, it knows that it's pulling it from your website, which is just good for your SEO. Here, you see this little picture here, insert image. So let's say I'm going to do this. Is that okay? It's a link. I'm trying to get a picture. This is a picture. I'm just doing it so copy the image address. And then you have this picture. It says insert image. Just click it and copy the image URL right between those codes. Okay. And then I'm going to show it to you in preview because it looks the same. You see where it is? It went right inside the post. Okay. So with a legitimate picture, obviously you put whatever in there. Now, the other method is, now I'm going to delete this just for demonstration, is here, attachments. So you go below the text box and here in attachments, you add files. Okay. And then you add your files from there, and then you can place them in line within your message wherever you are, like paragraph 1 or 2 and closing, whatever. So you could put, when you have an attachment, there's a command that says place in line, and you could put it here, or you can put it here, etc. So, feel free to ask for help as well. We're going to have in this forum, in this preview planning forum, in fact, this is a quick one here. So I'll expand on it later, but now you see that there is a thread there, right? And we're going to have more information in there, and I could probably I'll post the YouTube video on there, for example. That's a good point. If you want to post a YouTube video, okay, media, right here, media embed. You see, so the forum has all of these functions. You just have to kind of learn them, and we're happy to help with this. I don't want to spend all this time on just how to use Wine Berserkers, but you have the basics. You know where to go. Remember, here's the index, here's the NewbiePalooza, and here is your private forum, okay? Everybody's offers, all of the offers will be posted here and only visible by us. It's not public yet, so don't worry about it. This is where all of them will go, allows us, and the council in particular, to help you guys look through everything and make suggested changes if need be. Okay, David has a question. I'm going to ask you to unmute. Go ahead, David.
Oh, no, just a suggestion, Todd. I believe once you post your new topic, you can continually edit your post.
Mm-hmm.
So don't feel like it has to be perfect on the first go. You can kind of look at it, see what it looks like, and continue to refine it. Just wanted to mention that.
Thank you. Thanks, David. All right. Now here's to his example here. See, this is the one I already posted. Here's your edit button right there, the pencil. It says edit post. Okay. You click edit and then you can edit it any way you want. So you can, it's always a work in progress until it's public. And I know that we as the council will be on top of this to make sure that everybody's offer is finished and ready to go and presentable. Okay. So don't worry, you're not on your own for this. The whole reason we're doing this outside of Berserker Day is so we have time to help. Okay, so then that is it. So again, one more time. Here it is here. And if you haven't registered, you have to register. I'm logged in, so it doesn't show. And then I approve everything and put them in. Let's see who we have. Yeah, we have Philip here and Kyle was just in there and Savannah. So I know some of you guys are on the call. So I did get you guys already in there. Okay, so here's NewbiePalooza preview planning form. Okay, now I'm going to stop sharing so I can see questions. And if there are questions, let's open them up if anyone wants to speak. If not, then we just cut it off and we all go start to make dinner or go to bed. I guess some of you are on the East Coast. So anybody have questions? Are we good?
I do. Nilu, this is Nilu. So
Hi,
me
Nilu.
being food, I didn't see, are there examples of people who have food so I can look at those?
Yes.
Okay.
And so in your email, thank you for, I was going to mention that. And there's 3 food companies and you guys align so perfectly. One is charcuterie, one is soft cheeses, and then your ginger preserve. So what I would love for you guys to do, swap stuff, because Jasper Hill may want some of the zing and the smoking goose may want some of the Jasper Hill. And, they go together well, and likely those who buy one of those may buy all of them. So I will put that in each of the 3 emails to each of those 3 producers. I'll do them as a collective, I guess. And in fact, I'll just do all the food ones in one and share all the addresses and all the information in there so that you guys can do your exchange through there. That's going to be valuable. I think it'll be better than just having them standalone.
Okay.
And I think Philip, yep.
Oh, I'm sorry. And you were going to talk about the pop-up ads?
Yeah. Okay. If you want to do the pop-up ads, that's funny. That's
Or do you want them or you don't want
ads,
them?
Well, you don't, obviously. It's up to
you.
you.
Want them.
There are people who have pop-up blockers who don't have to deal with it. But for those who don't want that, you have to there's a way to get rid of the ads. So it's in my memberships, your username once you're logged in, my memberships, and all you need is a Ground Crew membership. You'll see it in there. I guess I'll go in it, I think. Okay, so it's stuff like this. You can add this to get rid of ads. I just encourage you guys at this point, your sellers, get a pop-up blocker for now. This is designed for the people who use the forum on a regular basis. It's not really designed for you, but it does get rid of the ads, which can certainly be annoying because, it is what it is. You have to be able to, I'm not making any money off this. You got to make some money, what little money there is in ads, you got to figure it out. Okay, Philip, you had a question? I'm trying to unmute. There you go.
Sorry, I may have missed this, but is there a extra step that we need to go through to get access to the NewbiePalooza forum?
All you have to do, let's see, I think I already added you. Yeah, I already added you. So okay, here's I've got you in there, so you should be able to see it now. Once you're logged in, let me see, are you in there? Nope, you're not. Hold on, let me get you in.
Okay, cool.
Quadra.
Hey Todd, while you're doing that, we had a question.
Okay. Mm-hmm.
I had a question from Savannah. She was wondering about how transactions are expected to be done.
Great.
Or how
Yes.
orders are processed. And do you want to talk about that just to clarify?
Yes, this is great because I was actually just about to talk about that. The offer, the way you want it is however you want it, you can have it. If you just want to post the phone number and field a whole bunch of phone calls, great. If you have an email address and you want to take it that way, people have done that. But the best way is obviously to set up your e-commerce website in such a way and test it, because when, as David knows, when those orders come in, sometimes they come in giant chunks. And if you have, or the person that Patrick spoke about, the seller that scheduled a call and then there was a problem with the website, and then they're sitting on all these issues, and you may or may not rescue those offers. Test the order, test the website. So best one is to put a hyperlink to the exact page that you want them to go to, and be clear with where your code is. If it's a promo code, put it in bold, which is also a feature on the, you can make bold, and you can change the font colors to highlight your promo code to get those deals. So these are all things that we can help with as well. So don't worry about it. But it's a forum. It's pretty user friendly once you start to figure out all the different tools that it has. So put your offer so it's easy to see, and make sure it works. However you put it in there. If website is best, and we don't do any transactions on our side. We can't, because we can't, especially with alcohol, we can't sell alcohol. We don't have a license. So this all has to be direct through you. We're just giving people the vehicle to find you, and then you guys do the rest from there. This is all here. We're introducing you to these people, and then you got to take it from there. Okay, let's see, are there more questions? Nope.
I'll just mention that I know that when we were talking to sellers during our interviews, a number of folks mentioned to me that they were confused by how the site worked and stuff. I think there are a lot of folks who aren't of the generation that did bulletin boards or old school forums. And so some of this may look odd because it's not just straight up HTML website, etc. But we'll talk you through that. So Patrick, Richard, and I are around. We're happy to help you with this. And once you get the hang of it, it's a piece of cake. It's just, it all sounds like a lot initially, but don't let it be intimidating. It's really not. So.
Yeah, there's similarities to social media, Facebook and Instagram, where there's a main post and then there's replies to the post. That's basically the same concept. It's just in a forum format, it's infinitely and much more easily searchable, which is important for that data, because it doesn't go away, which is good for you guys as a business, is that it doesn't go away. And the whole concept, as you look through Wine Talk, the most active one, and Berserker Day forum, and see how those offers turned into communicational transactions, where there were questions asked and answers, and each post is there. All of this information is built on there, because people asking questions and having them answered may help others as well. So that's why it's important to have that transaction, the communication in your transactions.
And I think that's important. You talked about communication and transactions. Like we've talked about this throughout the forum today. This is not really a transactional day. I like to find out why people decided to get into the wine making business, and what's their story, and what kind of oak do they use. That I like that, and I am by far in the majority. Most people on here want that kind of info.
Yeah, do look into contacting Sean or Patrick or Richard or all of them, because they represent the buyers. Okay, it's different for me. I can help with all the technical stuff, but if you're wanting to know kind of more how do I get in the head of the buyers, go with these guys. While I do buy, I also see everything as it's started and how it's continued, and I see everything on the on the back end. So it's not as a fresh of a look as it is with Sean, Patrick, and Richard, in terms of the input that you can get from buyers, and the whole reason why they decided, hey, let's all get. They don't know each other outside the forum, and they're from different parts of the country, and they decided to get together to do this, to try to make Berserker Day better. So it's a really unique group to tap into, to find out some of these things, to how do I need to do this, and what's the best way to go. So okay, any other questions or comments?
I had a quick question about sampling. Since we're
Yes, sir.
planning on doing a 3-bottle kind of sampler pack, but 4 different offerings of these 3-bottle sampler packs. For sampling for our samplers, would you recommend us doing like 1 wine from each of these 3 packs, or what's the best way to go about it so that they get a kind of the good sense of the offering that we're doing?
Okay. I'd ask that any of the council want to contribute to this, fine as well. But to me, that's a good idea, is if you're having multiple offers of sampler packs, then having like a sample of the sampler packs, so if you can swing it, if it's 3 offerings with 4 different wines on each, you just pick one of each of the sampler packs to create a sampler. Is that kind of what you were talking about?
Yeah, so it's
Okay.
4 different offerings of 3 wines each. So we could pick 1 wine from each of those 4 samplers or something like that, and send 4 bottles to each of the, kind of 1 from pack A, B, C, D.
Okay, since you have that many to offer, I may have to rework yours to get you to the one that is going to the group.
Sure.
Because
okay.
I can't remember off, I could look to see.
Yeah, and
but,
with Ancient Wine Guys, so ours is a little
yeah.
bit different.
Oh, right.
from
Okay.
people.
Okay, let's see. We got Scott. Okay. I see who it is. And then I know that Sono has a particular issue because she can only ship to California. But I know that I put in a note, and I can't remember where it is. One of the people is going to be seeing a group of berserkers, so we'll have to stick you in that one, and we'll just shuffle one around. So I'm glad you asked that, because the assignments go out tomorrow, so we'll get that going.
Sounds good. Yeah, we can take it offline as well.
The only thing I would add is, that's awesome if you want to send out something like a few bottles to represent different sample packs. It's not necessary. For sure, you don't have to send out 1 million bottles as samples to all of the to the 2 folks, to the reviewers. So do what makes sense to represent your wine. Is that fair to say, Todd? So if it's 1 bottle, if it's 2 bottles, that's fine. You don't have to send out 1 million bottles to the reviewers. I mean, this is sending out samples like this is the first time we've done this on Berserkers. It's a bit of an experiment. We think it's a pretty cool way to generate discussion about your products, but we don't want it to be a burden.
Yeah, it's called sample for a reason. So okay, yeah, I'll figure out who that is. I thought it was Dave Dryoff, but I'm not finding it. So we'll figure that one out, Ryan, and set it up accordingly. Okay. All right. Anybody else?
And you should notice, after you send your sales out in, after November 17th, the forum will post tasting notes for you on your wines. I mean, somebody will pop a bottle the day they get it sometimes, and they'll write a tasting note on Wine Talk.
Yep, that's the whole goal here. So while you think, oh, I'm not making much money off it, it's those 2 things you have to remember: the repeat business part and the exposure. Because if people like it, I mean, I'm telling you, if you guys have a chance to talk to Marcus Goodfellow, his livelihood was made by it, honestly. So they were fairly new just a few years ago, and they're massive success now. But also during COVID in particular, they didn't have a distribution model really in place, and it was the direct purchases from these buyers that just absolutely love their stuff that kept them afloat, that literally kept their business going. So these are important things to remember. And when you give wine or food to a distributor, that wholesale cost, what do you get out of that? You just get that money, and that's it. You don't get to meet the customers, you don't get potential repeat business, and you don't get the exposure. So keep that in mind into making the best possible offer you can. But also, I understand, as a small business owner, you freaking need to eat too. So make sure that you take care of yourself as well. We're not expecting anybody to go broke here. Okay, so I am already looking, and yeah, it looks like Dyroff is the one. So I'll figure it out, and Ryan, and get that to you. Okay. All right. Anyone else? You have our email addresses. Feel free to email us. The 4 of us are on the rest of you are blind copied, but the 4 of us are copied. So if you need to ask any questions via email, please do so. And I will end this now so that we can get it to everyone else who wasn't able to join us. And we look forward to talking to you guys in the coming weeks. Okay. Thanks everyone for coming.